So Kimi Antonelli won his first ever Grand Prix by winning the 2026 Chinese Grand Prix. He also was a pole sitter and made history as the youngest ever pole sitter in F1 history. I think he's like 19 years old and something months, which is crazy. So let's talk about it. So yeah, Kimi Antonelli won the race and Mercedes was exceptionally fast. No surprise there. I thought Kimi drove an exceptional race. Everything but the restart. I mean, we all expected Ferrari to lead by turn 1 because Ferraris are extremely good on restarts. But after Kimi passed Lewis, he controlled the race beautifully. And also the two Ferraris and George battling each other helped Kimi to extend the gap as well. But all in all, I think he was exceptional, and I think he all proved everyone that he has a lot of talent. And yeah, I'm super excited to see what he's going to achieve this year. And the other big story of the Chinese Grand Prix is Lewis Hamilton is on the podium for the first time as a Ferrari driver. And that makes him the first ever driver to be on the podium as a McLaren, Mercedes and a Ferrari driver, which I think is extremely iconic. For me, what was so encouraging to see as a Lewis fan is to see how he was racing as someone like Charles, who's at a peak of his abilities, I would say. He was going toe-to-toe with him. He wasn't afraid of the cars slapping on anything. He was like passing each other all the time. He was extremely confident with his car, which I think is super cool to see. Especially the past regulations of the cars, the ground effect eras. He never felt comfortable, and I never saw him like attacking corners like the way he do now. But yeah, as a Lewis fan, as a Ferrari fan, it's really cool to see, but there's a huge gap still. I think like 3, 4, 5 tenths in race pace per lap from when it comes to Mercedes and Ferrari. So if Ferrari wants to fight for the championship, they need to do a lot more. But I think the drivers are extremely comfortable with the cars. So if Ferrari can figure out a way to give more power to the drivers from the power unit side, I think they can be a real contender to Mercedes this year. We also had to talk about Behrman because, man, he was P5. Granted, there was no McLaren starting the race. If I remember correctly, at a time where Stroll stopped on track, the VSC was out. Behrman was in the top 5, I believe, Behrman and Franco. So yeah, I think he drove an exceptional race. And for me, I have no doubt that Behrman will one day be a Ferrari driver for sure. And the other amazing driver was Franco Colapinto. Man, he was racy, apart from that really unfortunate incident with Ocon. But other than that, I think he drove amazingly. I believe if that incident weren't to happen, I think he would be with like P8, maybe P9. But again, P10, his first ever points for Alpine. Man, Alpine looks extremely good. It's crazy to say that Alpine is faster than Red Bull at this moment, which is, if you were to say that to me in 2025, I would say you are crazy. But here we are. A quick look at the driver standing. The two Mercedes are leading the way and Ferraris are a little bit further behind, but look at the gap between P4 and P5. And it's great to say that P5 is Behrman and he's ahead of people like Norris and Verstappen. Crazy times we are living in. To look at the constructor standings, Mercedes and Ferrari are way out in front, and it's cool to see McLaren is still on P3 even though in Chinese Grand Prix both drivers were out. So that just showed that how far Red Bull is behind in these regulations. Talking about Red Bull, man, Max is not having a fun time. He absolutely hates the new regulations, and he also had to retire the car at like 10 laps before the end of the race. It doesn't help that Red Bull have built an absolute boat of a car. They are slower than Alpine and Haas too, which is crazy. I really hope both Red Bull and McLaren can figure things out really quickly and be back at the sharp end of the field, because at the moment it looks like a Mercedes versus Ferrari season.